Our next speaker is Sienna Belanger Lee. I'm going to mispronounce these words, but I'm going to say them confidently. Tuktam Shangwi Gazus, she, her, is from the Syilx and Anishinaabe Nation and was raised on reserve at Okip, located at the head of Lake Okanagan. She's a student obtaining a bachelor's degree in Syilxian language through the BNLF program at UBC Okanagan. Sienna currently resides at Neswal, sorry, I'm going to mispronounce it probably, eh? Yes. Dry Creek, where she facilitates Indigenous planting opportunities as well as her digital arts, language learning, and horse culture. Please join me in welcoming Sienna. Sienna, would you like to sit here with the microphone or go to the podium?
White Haskohal Chai Squeezed Hihotan, Kintel and Anishinaabe Moin, Sean Swigizis, Kintel and Sulau, Waikilim Tapna, Sukhal, Hayat. Hi, my name is Sienna Belanger Lee. I'm from OKIB. My family has resided at Nisulau or Dry Creek since time immemorial. This is my first artist panel, so I'm kind of nervous but excited. I guess to start right away, my mom and I have our artist business, Studio Seaspoke, where we curate and host workshops together as a partnered business. And then my latest project is the Insisulau Food Forest, which is something that we just started this year, where we are planting Indigenous and Native foods on our 10-acre property out on OKIB. So I guess I should have talked during this, but this is my introduction. I'm currently in my 4th year finishing the BNLF program, which is the Bachelor's of Insilchan Language Fluency program, which is the first ever of its kind, and it's really cool to be at the university learning our language. And through the language, I've connected it to my art, but also my land practices and my horse practices as well. In that picture with the horse is me and my horse Crow. His Insilchan name is Chacha, which means crow, and he's my 4-year-old rescued wildie. Like Corey, we live right beside the range, and so I had this really cool experience to rescue him and his mom before they got hit. And so I've been raising them and reconnecting with our horse culture, as it's something that has died out in my family. So this is me. I grew up around the culture and the language. I went to the OKIB immersion school, and there I grew up hearing the language, speaking it, but as I grew up and became a teenager, I took myself away from that, and now as a young adult, I'm back into it and trying to teach my younger siblings how to be Indigenous on the land, and be proud of their identity. And in the far left side is me working, I cut out my mom and I, but
So it's about you.
yeah, I know. Anywho, she was teaching me how to restitch tule mats through her land-based art practices. And that's me as a little girl singing the Okanagan song, and in the middle is me bitterroot harvesting, just above 6 Mile, I think. Oh. These are a couple of my academic projects. The horse poster is still in the works because part of my research is to find the Insilchan words for all the horse colors, but since colonization, we've lost a lot of that knowledge. And so the last 4 years I've been trying to find that and help all the other communities by creating these resources so that in their horse programs they have the language to go back onto. And the radical tree was something that I was commissioned to do for
Virginia McNatt.
Yes, Virginia McNatt, through their little seminar together with all these other Indigenous people from, I would guess, across the world.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, and then one of my more recent ones was commissioned by the university to sketch up a Sinpunxatun, which is a smoking shed. And so that was really cool that the university reached out to me to do that. Oh, and most of my digital art is created on the app Procreate, which is not free, but it's really really good app to get into if you want to do digital art. This is one of our four food chiefs, Spiklum, or Bitterroot. And if you've ever taken the Analkanweave class, some of you will know that Bitterroot is more connected to the feminine side of your identity. And during that course, I was sorted into that grouping, and so it was really cool to learn more about Spiklum and how one can identify with the feminine grounding energy and the knowledge that this Timuc brings to us. And it was something that I did for school. And something else that I've been really into is making stickers. So these aren't out yet, but they're going to be soon. And they're just stickers of the Tumpulau. This one is a general map of our territory with a lot of our special landmarks, like Pillar Rock, Kettle Falls, Terrace Mountain, and a couple of our bluffs. And then the one on the left is more about the Timuc. And I was really more connected to the night sky in these ones. This was another commission piece by one of my friends for her powwow special. And I think this was my first ever commission piece. And so I was just learning how to use Procreate. My friend is a traditional dancer, and so she wanted me to highlight that part, and the circle around her is part of her beadwork design, and so it was really cool to do that. These are some products that I've been experimenting with my art. The Singchaskaha sticker. There's also other little info cards that I've been creating. It was about my horse Lily, and she's one of my rescues. And the cool story, it's a cool story. Last year, after I had her trained up in under saddle, and I had my first couple rides on her, I put her out to winter pasture, and we had an accident where she kicked me on the left side of my skull, and she fractured it. And now I am technically deaf in my left ear, which has been a life-altering experience, but also a healing one as we come back together and begin to trust each other again, because she was a wild horse, and so I had a lot of high expectations for her to be a workhorse for me, to help me plant plants in the food forest. But I think what her teaching was for me is that was to not have so high of an expectations for something that belongs on the land. And she gifted me 2 young colts, and so I've put my focus onto them, and we'll be starting their training soon. But these are just some artworks that have been inspired by my horses. This was one that was inspired by the show Trickster, when the character Sarah comes out real indigenously, real sacred with a piece of meat in her hands. So I felt really inspired to create a similar piece of my own. And so that was that. This is another piece that was inspired by more historic picture, I believe by James Tate. And it was a picture of one of our women from a long time ago. And I felt really inspired to put a lot of detail into the dentilium shells because that was our money back in the day. We were pretty wealthy people during the fur trading, or even before fur trading started. The Okanagan Valley was the center of trade, and so that was one piece that I was really excited to work on. This was another piece that was also inspired by another Indigenous artist from the movie Ponyo, if you've ever seen that. But I wanted to create my own kind of spin on it, and I was inspired by the work that my mom's done with Dr. Sean Brigman with the sturgeon nose canoe. So that's one of our traditional sturgeon nose canoes with a more higher power being, water being. But I wanted to connect more to that sacred feminine side. And so it was a really cool piece to work on. This is another piece inspired by my horse Crow, and is going to be hopefully a future project where I actually create this horse regalia for him, and maybe do some parade work and have like really cool workshops where students and other people can learn from him and myself and be more connected to the Tsilhqot'in side of language and culture. And during the discovery of the 215 at Kamloops, I was really inspired to create my own another horse illustration of Putikulala, which means we are still here. And it was really important to incorporate the handprints, and I wanted to make sure that they were little handprints because our children were taken from us, and it's something that should be known everywhere. This is another academic project that I've been working on. I don't have the Tsilhqot'in for it yet, but it's another illustration of my horse Crow. And the goal for this one is to allow other horse programs, like the Hall Project with Dr. Bill Cohen, to help teach our youth and other learners about our horsemanship and learn the words for the saddle, the bridle, all of it, so that we can reclaim our horsemanship. Because that was something that was taken away from us when the military came to take our horses during World War II. We used to have 20,000 horses at one point, and the Army took them, and then they put, what's it called? Sort of like what happened to the buffalo. They put a bounty on the horses, and I believe if you got a horse and you took the ears, you would get like 2 cents for that, for those ears, and specifically if it was a reservation horse. So it's really important that as a people we bring back our horse culture and stand by it. This is one of my recent illustrations that taps into both of my Syilx side but also my Anishinaabe side. Blue Thunder Being is inspired by the movie Dreamkeeper, where a thunder being falls in love with a young Mohawk woman, but it's more, like kind of forbidden love. But for my version, it's an Ojibwe thunder being and a Syilx woman. And it's kind of inspired by my parents, by my identity, and it was my first illustration that became physical that I call Thunder and Love, and it's a collaborated piece between my mother and I. The paper that it's painted painted on is a Julie paper blended in with her MFA work. And so it was really cool to get back more into the traditional side of my art, or the traditional side of my art, and actually make it physical. And this piece is housed at the St. Louiston Gallery down in Penticton, and I think the exhibit is open.
Yeah.
And this piece is actually also for sale, so it's one of a kind, so it's the only one out there, and if you want it, you can go get it.
Yeah, well, you gotta talk to her first.
Yeah, obviously. But yeah, it was really cool to collaborate with my mom on this part and get back into painting, because painting is something that I haven't done in a couple of years since starting my bachelor's degree work. And this is the Insisula food forest on our 10-acre property. Well, this is the dream of it. On these pink sections and these little dots everywhere is where we're going to have most of the forest on the outskirts along our fence line to create more of a biodiversity and wildlife corridor, so that we can hopefully bring or create a safe place for all the Timucua that lives around our place, because we live right beside the range, and so we get a lot of animals and wildlife that come through. So we want to curate to them, but also ourselves, and the big goal is to create a space for elders, youth, and anyone who really wants to learn to come to a safe place and learn about the plants. And instead of going up into the mountain where we have more of our private and sacred sites, they can come to a more educational space where we'll have food, and the shaskaha, the horses, and the different things that my mom and I offer for workshops. Right now we're still in our development phase, so we just installed a 40 by 40 sea-can barn. We are yet to move my horses up there. The really cool thing is we just got all my tractor equipment, so we get to be a little farming. And it's one of my projects that is going to take probably my whole life. But it's really cool. And another big project that we worked on this past year was the Chaskaha Tikimilo documentary, where I go through my journey with my horses over the 4 years, and it talks about the White Rock Lake wildfire that affected a lot of our communities. And at that time, my horses were still wild and untouched, so it was quite a story to get these wild horses into a trailer, haul them 4 hours away from home, and then live down in Midway for about 2 months, where I was kind of displaced from my family and all my community members, and it was a really educational experience for me to go through this documentary process, because I've never done that, and I'm not used to being center stage at all, and so it was really cool to go through that. I think that's it. And if you ever want to contact me, these are my contacts. And if you ever need some volunteer hours, I'm always looking for volunteers. Okay.